Hello, today we're doing a brief introduction or a brief review on the Sony a6500, which I purchased very recently. I've had it about 10 days. I think I've had it long enough now to justify doing a review on my initial thoughts of using this camera. Just so everyone knows, I've said this before and I say it again, I'm not paid by Sony or any of the manufacturers to promote their goods. I say quite honestly what I think of the goods, and I buy them out of my own pocket. So everything is paid for, and what I say is my own genuine thoughts on what I think of it. So that's out of the way. Yeah, it's the Sony a6500. And I bought this over and above the a6300, mainly because this has 5-axis image stabilization and apparently doesn't overheat at all, or doesn't overheat as much as what the a6300 used to, or does. I've got fitted to it my G Master f4 18-105 lens, and this is my go-to lens for both this camera and the a6000. While we're on the subject of the a6000, the cameras I'm filming this today are the Sony RX10 Mark II, which is the main camera, which is that one there. And then I'm using the Panasonic FZ2000, which is up there, and that's recording the close-ups, hopefully, of this particular baby. And then over my shoulder is the a6000, which is getting the wide shots. So back to the 6500, as I said, I've only had it about 10 days. The G Master lens that I've got fitted to it is the 18-105, and it is stonking. It's a really nice lens. They call it a PZ lens because it has power zoom, specifically designed for video, really. Silent zoom control there, absolutely super. But the quality from this lens is lovely. I'll show you some of the photographs and some of the video as we go through this, but this is more of a review on the usability. I mean, there's masses of reviews on the internet about the Sony cameras and the a6500, so I'm not going to bore you to tears with what everyone else says. But firstly, the overheating issue. I haven't managed to get it to overheat as yet. Mind you, here in the UK, we're not into the summer as yet, so I've not really been in a situation where I've been out in the heat to test it. But no, I've had it running for a good hour or so, off and on, but I haven't actually turned the camera off, but stopping and starting, taking photographs, taking video, and it's not overheated. So if that's anything to go by, I don't know, but it's I've had no issues with it. There are a few niggling things about this camera that other people have touched on, and I'm going to touch on it. Firstly, putting the SD slot under here is a real pain because it really isn't easy to get in and out. And if you need to change that fairly rapidly, that's a bit of an issue. Particularly when it's in the cage. I mean, I've got a small cage for it, and it's a hell of a job. Getting the battery out and the SD card out. The battery is the FW50 battery. Many people are criticising this battery. I actually quite like it, mainly because it's compact. Who cares if you have to carry half a dozen batteries with you? As long as it doesn't die while you're shooting, that I've yet to find out. But this same battery fits the RX10 Mark II that I have, and the a6000. So for me, I've only got to have one set of batteries for all three cameras, so and one set of chargers. So that to me is a benefit, although obviously battery life is important. I mean, the GH4 that I've got is phenomenal. That just goes on and on and on. So well done to Panasonic for that. The other niggling thing is it's only got a mic input. It hasn't got a headphone jack, which is annoying, but it's not a deal breaker for me. And I'll tell you why it's not a deal breaker. As long as I can plug a microphone in, I can use the headphone jack on my Atmos recorder. And quite often when I go out filming, if I rely on sound, I'll plug in the Atmos recorder and then I can plug my headphones into the Atmos, and I'm happy with that. The other nice thing with this camera, it's got the Sony accessory shoe or hot shoe, and it takes the Sony K2M XLR adapter, which I'm using to film this on my RX10. So that's another great thing. It doesn't work on the a6000, but it works on this and it works on the RX10, so I'm well happy with that. although I've been using a Saramonic sound mixer device. I'll go into more details about that on another review, which is pretty good, but it's very plasticky. Anyway, getting back to this camera, it's got the standard E-mount fitting, so you can fit any of the Sony range of E-mount lenses. But the beauty with it, because it's designed the way it is, it does take various adapters. Metabones make a range of adapters. I've got on the table here my LEA4 adapter, which adapts the old Sony A-mount lenses to go onto the E-mount, which is great. So you just put that on there, whack the lens on, and you still get auto exposure, autofocus. The autofocus does slow down a bit, but it's still there. So you can adapt, you know, all your old lenses, you know, your old A-mount lenses. And I find this adapter works a treat. I'm well happy with that. That doesn't fit on there. So let's just take that off a second. Put my lens back. Obviously I've got a range of lenses for this. I've got wide angles and what have you, telephotos. I am looking at getting the Sony 10-18 f4, which complements this lens, but it's in the UK it's around 700 quid, so I can't justify that just at the moment, but it will come. The other lenses it does take, which I weren't sure how well it would work, it takes the full frame lenses, which I've got on my Sony a7. So I can take the A-mount lenses off my a7 and fit on the 6500. You do get it crops it even tighter, so or does it go the other way round? No, I think it's no, it does crop it tighter. It's the other way round when you put oh, it gets confusing. I tried explaining it to somebody the other day, the Sony system, and it's really confusing because you've got the A77, which is the A mounts, and then you've got the A7s, which are full frame mount, and then you've got the A6000, 6500 and the NEXs and whatever, which is the E mount. But the A mount, E mount thing works on the E mount bodies and vice versa, but you get different crop factors. God, it's confusing. Yeah, you wouldn't really, you can, it's quite comfortable using these lenses, for example the full frame lenses on an E-mount body, but it's not practical to use the E-mount lenses on the full frame bodies because it crops it and you get lower resolution. So on the A7, instead of being 24 megapixel, it would go down to 10 megapixel with an E-mount lens. Oh my God, I'm confused already. Bloody hell. But anyway, let's not get confused now. Let's get back to the 6500. The 6500 is a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor, so it is smaller than the full frame sensor. But I bought this predominantly for its 4K video functions as opposed to its photography. If I'm taking photographs, I'll almost certainly go out with the A7. Oh, one more quick thing, the A7 takes the FW50 batteries as well, so all my cameras, all my Sony cameras use the same battery. Brilliant, isn't it? Thanks, Sony. Yeah, so this camera is the APS-C model, 24 megapixel with 5-axis image stabilization, and in video, oh, it's superb. It really is absolutely superb. That was the main reason for going for this as opposed to the a6500 and the overheating issue, which is what we've already discussed. It's got an additional function button over the a6500 as well, so you can customize these function buttons, which I have done. Various other dials and functions on the back, typical of all Sony cameras, all pretty much the same. The menu system, yeah, they've redesigned it a bit. And it literally is a bit, they've added a bit of colour to it, oh whoopie doo. So the menu system is okay, it's not great, but then what camera is great, you know? The Nikons apparently are very good, and my Panasonic is excellent, so I would say Panasonic full marks there. The worst ones I've ever used are the Olympus menus. Oh my God, they're 10 times worse than the Sony menu structure, really convoluted and all over the place. So that's pretty much my initial thoughts. Getting back to my initial thoughts, I love the camera. It takes great video. It really does take great video. It's definitely on a par with any other 4K camera that I've used, and I'm absolutely delighted with it. And look how compact it is. It's not that compact with obviously this lens on, but you put a, you know, one of the smaller Emount lenses on, and you've got a really nice compact body. Let's just stick this on. If it will go on. You know, that's the what one's that? That's the 90mm macro lens, 30mm macro lens. I don't know, whichever one it is. Yeah, that is a that's a really nice lens. Oh, 30mm, sorry. That's for 30mm macro lens, and that is really good. You have also got, when you're doing video, the other thing I love about the Sony cameras, you've got all the information you could want on the screen. I mean, it is only a tiltable screen, so it'll only go up and down. But that isn't a big issue, as I say, because I use an external monitor. Or you can be even more clever, and it's a doddle to set up. I mean, again, absolute doddle is your mobile phone or whatever. Now, I'm actually recording this, and I'm using it's an old, I dug it out of the cupboard, an old Sony Android phone. As long as it's got NFC, tap it on the side of the camera and away you go. You've got, it boots straight into it. And there you can see the remote app working. So you can use this as a monitor, get a little adapter, which I've got, connect it to the camera, and you've got yourself a remote monitor. You don't need the expense of an Atmos recorder or a HDMI monitor. And face detection works beautifully. You can see there it's showing that my face is in focus, which is great for me because I'm working on my own. I've got nobody to set the focus manually, so I need a camera that will pretty much 100% reliably set the focus for me. And my Panasonic does as well, but my RX10 nails it, or RX10 Mark II nails it, and so does the a6500. I've already tested that, and I can see here that it is actually nailing the focus on me and not, you know, somewhere else. So when you're working on your own, it's great. I know there's criticisms this camera isn't great as a vlogging camera purely because you can't flip the monitor out, but a little shoe on the top here with the mobile phone adapter, stick it on the top. What's wrong with that? You've got yourself a fantastic quality camera that can do vlogging. Okay, so you've got to use an extra piece of kit, and it's a bit annoying, but it's not a deal breaker. It's not the end of the world. This camera does produce awesome results, and I say the monitor also shows you audio levels, so you can actually see clearly what the audio is doing. It's annoying, you can't hear the bloody audio, and that does frustrate me, but as I say, with my Atmos recorder. But then again, a lot of the times you're not going to be needing to, this would be a B-roll camera, so audio isn't that crucial. I do like the function buttons, I do like where the controls are. The viewfinder is crystal clear. Now I wear specs, and even with my specs I get a lovely clear image through this viewfinder, and again you can have all the display information and what have you. It's absolutely wicked, love it. The results, as I say, speak for themselves. I'll show you some of the quick test results. Oh yeah, touch to focus. There's a lot of talk about that, and there's a lot of well, a lot of the reviewers are all saying about it. It's annoying that the touchscreen doesn't work in playback. You can't move between images, pinch to zoom, you know, like you can on the Panasonic. I really do miss that. But other than that, the touch to focus in filming is phenomenal. I'm going to be using that a lot. You literally do, well, I don't think I'm going to be able to demonstrate it here, but you literally just touch the screen and that'll bring that into focus. The autofocus has found the point and fixed on it, but as you move the camera around, that won't move. And that's massively that's got massive advantages until you touch the screen again and move it to another point to focus on. And then that'll stay in focus and not move until you reset it by hitting the center button. Yeah, lots of tweaks they've done in this. The codec is absolutely superb. It's the a6500 4K codec. It does do slow motion. I've not tried the quick motion and the time lapses yet, so I can't really comment on that. What other things have we got? 11 frames per second. Yeah, I've not tried that, so I can't really comment on that either. Let's see if we can have a looky-do. 11 frames drive mode, continue shooting. Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it? That's pretty fast. That's in raw mode as well. First time I've done that. So that's pretty snappy. It's shooting all those frames and the buffer's not even... Oh, its buffer's just started to fill up. Look at that. So that was quite impressive. You do get... Well, that was quick. It's read all those files and it's done it now. So you can go into play mode and play them back. Not that there'd be anything worth there looking at, but... So yeah, drawbacks really, I say where the SD card is. Some people will say the small battery. I don't have an issue with that. And only a mic jack, but no headphone jack. That's not a major issue. It's annoying, but not a major issue to me either. It's the 5-axis image stabilization that I'm loving, and the 4K quality that it's producing. So there will be more videos to come. I'll be doing a video as a comparison video between this, the RX10 Mark II, and the FZ2000, Panasonic FZ2000. I think it's only fair to do a comparison test between those three cameras. I do hope you enjoy my reviews. Please hit the subscribe button if you do, and hit the like button, share the videos, let everyone know. I will be adding more content to my channel during the course of this year and a lot more varied things. So hope you enjoy watching. Look forward to doing the next one. Stay tuned. Thanks very much indeed.